All right. Welcome back to the Points Only podcast. I'm Will. We're here with co-hosts Sam. Say hello.
Hey, what's up?
Paul.
Hey guys.
Jade.
What's up?
And today we have an extra special guest with us, Trevor Gonzalez. Say hello.
What's crack-a-lackin', baby? Ooh.
Yeah. So Trevor, how you doing? How's quarantine been?
I'm playing trendy game on popular Nintendo Switch game, Link's Awakening, and I'm not good at it.
Didn't we?
Please continue.
Anyways, quarantine's honestly been pretty good for me. Like, a lot of people are complaining about it, and like, a lot of people are not fans of it. I am not on that side. I love this stuff.
Why? Why would you say you love it?
I kind of get to make my own routine. Like in the first part of quarantine, I was definitely going to bed at 3 and waking up at 1, but I could feel my body like deteriorating, right? So I'd wake up and I'd just be like, oh my god, I feel awful. And then so I started going to bed at like 10. Like last night I went to bed at 9. I woke up today at 7. I felt so refreshed. It's like you've become like a lemon water. You know? Like, think of how refreshing those are.
That makes sense.
That's
I think
fair.
It's
Yeah.
interesting to see because we really do have to kind of control what's going on, especially like this week when we have nothing going on at all.
Yeah, if it's the hard part. Sorry, I'm eating. The hard part after a while is finding new things to do. And while I can say like go out and exercise or do all that stuff, they're closing a lot of what's available to the public. Like a lot of places, especially here, have these trails where like you can do like some calisthenic stuff, like dips, and like they have like dip bars or something like that. And they started closing those because of the virus, and that's so annoying because maybe like 10 people touch those throughout the day.
Yeah, do
Like,
you want to explain?
Obviously, yeah,
Trevor, do you want to
Mhm.
explain kind of your passion for working out and how that started and all that?
Okay, so it kind of started around I'm gonna say like we'll preface with this. I've always been interested in sports. The rest of my family is like very sports oriented. All of my brothers are in sports or were in sports, and they kind of just started putting me into that when I was little. So I played a lot of football, a lot of baseball, and I just discovered I didn't really like team sports. I didn't like having to rely on someone, and I didn't like losing because of someone else. Which, but
So you were just a bad competitive sports player.
but like that makes sense though, right?
Right.
Like you don't want to lose a game just because like someone else messed up the pitch or something like that, and like that can really get to you. And then around middle school, I found wrestling, and that's when stuff started I can't talk. Kind of started to peak for me, like when my passion for exercising really started to find itself. In 6th grade, so the thing with wrestling is that you have to be really well conditioned for it to do well in it. And in 6th grade, I think I was around like maybe 150 pounds, which is pretty big for a 6th grader. And then you'd have to run every day, like
Right.
a lot of wrestlers do in order to keep up. Because wrestling, along with strength, it's mostly endurance. Because the 3 minutes you're in that like match are like some of the hardest minutes of your life because it's like every man for himself. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's
And
a
then
sport I've never thought about for like 1 second in my life about doing. That's interesting.
exactly like
I could have easily done wrestling if I like committed to it. Like y'all know me. I'm a big boy. I could have done that.
that's the hard part though, is committing,
I'm
especially
wrestling.
as bigger people. Like I was the only heavyweight at Dartmouth for 8th grade, and in 8th grade I want to say 190 pounds when that was like my peak shape though. That's I think the like not thinnest but like most fit I've ever been, because after that like I just had marching, and sophomore year I think I hit like at least 280 pounds. Like I was really, really big sophomore year, especially in winter. Like, there's pictures of me in winter, and I look at myself and I'm like, dude, there's no way I let myself look like that. Like, it's in the yearbook. If you go to one of the I think either the suit club or the band section, there's a picture of me, and there's two separate pictures because they took pictures at different parts of the year. One was me like after a haircut and after I started dieting a little bit, and one was me like at the peak of my weight, and I'd look at myself in that yearbook and I'd be like, "Oh my god, I look terrible." And then I started getting interested in the sport called strongman, and like if you hear names like me and Aiden will be like, "Oh, did you hear about like Eddie Hall, like or Brian Shaw?" Like you might hear those names tossed around those in like conversations like that. Those are strongmen, and they're these like giants. They're like 6'8", 6'9". Like no, there's not a lot of strongmen that are under 6 feet tall that are successful, and they all weigh like 400 pounds,
Oh my god.
and
Yeah,
and those are the people.
I know a little bit about strongman too. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's insane. Like the world record for like the deadlift is held by a guy named Eddie Hall right now. He's this British dude. He's when he did the deadlift, I think he was 6'3" and like 427 pounds.
Oh my god.
And the world
Uh-oh.
record, yeah, the world record right now it's 500 kilograms, which is about 1,100 pounds,
Oh my
which
god.
is just insane.
God.
To just
Yeah, that's
believe it
absurd.
even can pick up. I can explain more about that later, but back to my fitness thing. It's just strongman. So I started watching that stuff, right? Maybe around March, and I just started watching that, and I was like, man, oh, it'd be so cool to like be that strong and like be fit and stuff like that. So I started doing some research on how to not become a strongman because that lifestyle is just
Yeah, that sounds like not a very
Steroids.
enjoyable. Yeah.
yeah,
it's
a
also
lot.
just
I'm gonna
pretty
take some
unhealthy.
steroids.
Oh no, it is
Sometimes.
like what I've learned with fitness and stuff is there's a spectrum, and you want to be right in the middle. So in the middle, that's like perfectly fit. Like you're a natural bodybuilder or maybe a marathon runner. Like that's right where you want to be. Because once you start going into steroids and performance sports like strongman and powerlifting, that's when you start shortening your lifespan because your heart just can't take that much. Like
Literally, you're literally just shortening your lifespan.
yeah,
Is that just
and then for
heart
some,
related stuff, or?
yeah, it's a lot of heart related stuff because steroids just mess with a lot of like your body functions. But that's when you start just shortening your lifespan because you know that's what you want to do with your life, and
Right.
that's just their passion, and that's if anything I admire that kind of dedication because that's impressive to pull off. And then there's the other side of the spectrum of being like not weak because I don't want to give out the notion that being weak isn't okay. Like being weak is okay as long as you're working towards something. Like if you're just kind of accepting the fact that you're not fit, it's just kind of this is just my perspective, by the way. It's not
Right.
like a say all be all. Like it just kind of it feels like you could do so much more, you know? And so that's when I think around when did school get out? Like June, yeah, around I think June. I signed up for Fitness 19, and I was following this program called Strongless 5x5, and
What does that mean?
what the
Like, what was that? What is that program? I guess.
okay, so Strongless 5x5 is Strongless is just the name for it. Like
Right.
a lot of programs, like for example, the one after it's called MadCal 5x5, and that's just used to differentiate between the programs. But the more important part is the 5x5 part, and that means 5 sets of 5 reps. So if you hear something like 3x12 or
Oh, right.
4x8, that's sets by reps. And so what Strongless 5x5 is, it's a strength program where let me get a sip real quick.
You gotta stay refreshed. You
Gotta
know
stay
what I'm saying?
refreshed,
The
bro.
Bang Energy, not sponsored.
But no,
Energy.
I'm actually not drinking Bang right now. I'm drinking
Impossible.
Monster
Sponsor.
Ultra Rosa. Just came out, dude. It's super good. But
Sponsored by Monster Energy.
Monster. This is not sponsored, by the way. But hey, if you want to do, shoot me. But um, where was I? Oh yeah, so programs, they tend to have varying purposes. Like Strongless 5x5, that's a generalized program for strength training,
Right.
where all the exercises you're doing and all the assistance exercises you're doing along with it, they're for the purpose of making you stronger. And then they have different programs for like aerobics. Like there's one called Couch to 5K, where it can take a totally, not a totally, but like a decently unfit person and get them able to run a 5K in about a month, which
Oh
is
my
impressive.
god.
And
That's-
it's really not a hard
That's a
routine.
lot.
It sounds like that has to be like something crazy hard. No.
You'd think so, but the problem is with a lot of modern fitness stuff, it's very overcomplicated. Like, well, one of the big things in bodybuilding is death by overanalysis, because you can do so much reading and so much like ingesting information that you just don't know what to do. And I found it's better to just pick something and just go along with it.
Huh. Yeah.
And
That's
then instead of
interesting.
changing programs all the time and
Yeah.
resetting all the time, that kind of inhibits your progress with it. So I did, and so 5x5, it's a great program, by the way. If anyone here is looking for programs, it's amazing. Get the paid version. It's like $20 a year, but it's so worth it. You start out, so it's the program's 3 days a week, and so I did Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and every day you did 5 sets of 5 reps of squats. Because as someone who likes squats a lot, that's a good thing. If you don't, it's such an insane leg builder, and it develops a lot of other stabilizer muscles in your core really well. And then you do bench press and then overhead press, and you alternate those on different days. And then you do pendlay rows and deadlifts, and you alternate those on opposite days. It's a pretty fun program, and it's great for anyone looking to get into strength training. But if you're a bigger guy like me, like if you're starting out with a little extra, then don't immediately go into training. Like I made that mistake, and I ended up like, did I get stronger? I did. And did I like get more fit? Yeah. But the problem is, to gain muscle, you do have to eat at a caloric surplus, which means you're going to gain weight.
Oh,
And
that's interesting.
when you're fat's a harsh word, but you get it. When you're bigger, there's an option called body recomposition. And the problem is it takes like 2 years to really start seeing the results. But it's a way to lose fat and build muscle at the same time,
Huh.
which is a very sought after thing. Like once you get to a certain level, you just can't do that anymore, and you have to go into the bulk cut cycle. But it's really interesting. I can send links to Will, and he can put them in the
Yeah,
description,
for sure, for sure.
something like that.
I
Because
think that's
I
really
can-
interesting because I mean, if you start out, I find it hard. I mean, I know personally, it's hard to get motivation to do that kind of thing. But I think
Uh-huh.
for you,
Yeah.
your motivation was seeing yourself in the state you were in, and you wanted to improve it, right?
Yeah, that's what a lot of my motivation came from. I'm sorry, I'm eating right now, but
Sorry.
that's what a lot of my motivation came from, is that your body's kind of a laboratory, and with weightlifting and all of that stuff, you kind of just get to experiment and see yourself change.
Right.
And especially if it's improvement, it's just like the first week, it's kind of like, oh, why am I doing this? And like the second week, and maybe for the first month even, you're kind of just unmotivated.
Right.
But once you stop thinking of it as something that you have to do, and once you just start putting it like in your routine as its own thing, like instead of, oh, I have to go to the gym on Wednesdays and stuff like that,
You want
just
to change it
think,
to something like, I want to go to the gym, or, oh, okay, I gotta go to the...
You get to go to the gym and
Yeah,
improve
yeah,
yourself.
you get to go to the gym. That's a better way of putting it, yeah.
that works. That works. That's really great, especially for like big days. But you kind of want to change it to just, I'm going to the gym.
Right.
You kind of just want it to be routine and habit instead of something you want to do, because motivation, I've discovered, is a pretty short-lived thing. Like you'll have it for maybe a week or two, and then it just kind of goes away. And the thing that lies under motivation is discipline. That's kind of where you start to really build up in strength training and stuff like that. And that's
So
just
have you had trouble with motivation in the past, and you've just found just pushing yourself and just keeping going is just the only thing you can really do, or?
for me. So after a while, with motivation, I had a lot of it because when I started weightlifting, I had a lot of emotional baggage, and that's all I'm gonna say. And that's all we're gonna leave it at. That's all we're gonna leave it at. But I kind of used that as a motivator for a bit, and then after a while, I used myself changing. And once you see yourself starting to get really strong, that's the cool part.
That's
Especially
almost
if
its
you
own
have like
motivator, right?
it is because you just want to keep getting stronger.
Yeah.
Like once I was squatting like 300 pounds and stuff like that, I was like, oh, holy shit. I didn't know I could do that. I'm actually like getting some.
Yeah.
And that's really cool to see, especially if you have someone with you, like a gym buddy or something like that, to like update you on your progress. Like I'd always go to the gym with Aiden or something like that, and he'd be like, "Oh wow, you can squat
Or
300 pounds, dude, you're
yeah,
getting-"
even just like being able to like show someone, like a friend or like a
Yeah, like-
family member, like, hey, I can do this now. Look at what I did, guys.
Yeah, and then them telling you that, like, and then like them saying that, like, you're looking better, or wow, that's really cool, you're really strong. Like that's a lot of that is it's a lot of that's the reward of weightlifting is the Myers, as they're called on the internet. It's
Right.
funny.
So if you were to give like just a couple tips if someone wanted to get into something like this, what would it be?
I think my first and most important tip would be to find a routine, because a lot of people just go to the gym you could go to the gym for years and not make any progress because you have no idea what you're doing and you don't have a routine. So my first tip would be find a routine and stick to it. Like don't deviate, just do it exactly as it says. My second tip would be to train outside the gym. And I don't mean that in the sense of weightlifting. I mean that in the sense of cooking, making sure you're eating the right
right,
food.
because you make your own meals, don't you?
For
the most part.
up until around December, I made breakfast every single day.
Wow.
I'd wake up at 6 before school and make breakfast for myself.
I do that. I do that myself even without weightlifting. I try to
just
make the
tastes
best
good.
breakfast I can for
It
myself.
just
Yeah,
tastes good.
it's also fun. Cooking's fun. My dad's a chef.
Cooking is so much fun. Yeah, I can do a whole nother thing on that too.
All right.
I love
Any other
Trevor
tips?
podcast too.
Wait, I got one more tip. So, last tip is just motivation is short lived. Build the discipline. That's really what's going to make you stick, not the motivation, because you're always going to be hitting PRs and you'll always get those like little 2 week tidbits of holy shit I'm so strong. But then you have to look at the next 8 weeks of weightlifting to get there, and it seems pretty daunting. Which is why you have discipline
That
to
makes
really get
sense.
you there.
So, in like the way we are right now in all the quarantine stuff, have you found it difficult to keep motivation?
Yeah, when the gyms closed, that kind of really struck because I ironically just found another routine because for the past few months I've been fasting. Every day I've been doing one meal a day to lose weight, and so from around like January to March, I didn't really do any exercise along. Like I'd maybe go on a walk. But I found that you really do want to be exercising while you're fasting, especially fasted cardio. That does wonders. But anyways, more on that later. I had just found a routine in the gym, and then when I was in the gym, like I was walking on the treadmill after doing some strength stuff. We got the notification that Gavin declared the social quarantine,
Right.
and that all the non-essential businesses were closed, and that really kind of like hit. Not only as like oh shit, I can't go to the gym anymore, but like wow, this virus is making an impact on things I didn't think it would make an impact.
Right, because
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's the only part of your life, but working out is a big part of your life. So I mean that's something that gets interfered with.
It is, and the struggle for a lot of people who are trying to stay fit is working out in a place that you're not usually working out in is really hard.
Right.
Like because if you can squat 300 pounds, then you can squat 300 pounds, but squatting it in different places is harder than it is in other places. I can squat in the gym or I can run in the gym because in my head, that's like where I'm supposed to do that, you know?
Right.
Like a lot of people, it's like, oh, I can only do homework at this desk or I can only read in this one spot. It's the same exact thing.
Yeah, it's like it's
Yeah.
easier to do it in places than it is.
I mean, at some point, it's
Yeah,
just
no, I
some
know what
weird
you mean.
mental thing where that's just where you're
Yeah,
used
no,
to
no,
doing
no,
it.
no. I completely understand that. Like, for example, when it comes to like writing an essay, like this was more prevalent like last year because I wasn't an AP laying
Mhm.
last year. Like I was just in honors English, but like if we had like an essay to do for homework or stuff, and we had time in class, I would never write my essay in class. I would sit there and just like talk to my friends and goof off, and then I would just do it all at home because that's where I could like sit and
Oh,
focus,
I know it's right.
and that's where I feel comfortable
fair.
doing it.
Yeah, I mean that's
me,
interesting. I think the brain, you're used to doing your best in a certain place, so it's hard to like be motivated and to have that pure just energy to
Yeah.
do your best in a different place. So
Yeah,
how
exactly.
have you solved that, Trevor? Like how have you found a way to still exercise?
For me again, it was finding a routine. And I'm going to link this back to wrestling because so in 8th grade when I was at my leanest, I was running a mile every day, Monday
Oh my
through Friday.
Oh my
God.
god.
I was doing that because of wrestling conditioning. And I was thinking, I was like, oh, that might help. What if I start doing that again? Not just because I need like to lose the weight faster. I have a lot of time, obviously, but just to get a routine in place.
Right.
And so over the week, I just slowly ramped up like what I was running. Like on Monday, on Monday I started at 2 laps, and then Tuesday I did 2.5 laps. Wednesday I took a rest day.
And this is around the block.
So I have a park right by my
Okay.
house, and like one circle around it's a 1/4 mile. So I could run 4 laps, and that's about a mile. And then there's like a big circle around my house that I can run that's also a mile.
Huh.
And I started doing that, and I've been running. I ran like combined maybe 3 miles this week because on Thursday and Friday I ran full miles. But
Yeah, that's very impressive. I don't know. I think finding that motivation, right? It's very hard to gather your strength and go do something during this time.
it is especially right now when it's like it's very easy to sit at home and do nothing.
Right.
It's very easy, but for me it's just like since I've put so much time into something,
That's
it's
your
like-
motivator, right? Because you don't
It's
want to
like-
lose your progress.
I'm gonna lose progress.
Oh, yeah.
I've accepted that. Like I don't have weight. Like there's nowhere for me to like. I mean,
Oh,
I have
that's
weights,
right,
but like
yeah.
nothing that's actually gonna stimulate a lot of stuff properly. And so that's why I found a calisthenics routine. But then they closed all my stuff, so now all I
Yeah,
can do is run.
that's not good.
Luckily, my mom has a state of the art treadmill from
Oh, that's
Peloton,
That's cool.
so I can use that. It's really cool. It has like classes.
So just to wrap up the exercise talk. So what would you say your improvement has been? Like what's in some numbers just to show improvement of your working out and stuff throughout the years?
Numbers wise, so I'll start with weights first.
You got
and
big
I'll go-
fucking calves.
Thank you.
And quads.
Ooh.
Abs.
All right, so numbers. My squat estimated 1 rep max. I don't like testing 1 rep maxes, so these are all based off of calculators on the internet based
Right.
on what I usually lift. My squat 1 rep max at its highest was estimation about 360 pounds.
Oh my god.
For bench, I think it was like 170 because my bench is like poverty. It is really not that high. And then for deadlift, it was around 320 because I didn't like doing deadlifts as much, so I just kind of like I didn't skip them. I just didn't like doing them. But and then for overhead press, I think it was around 145, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think that's really impressive. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's worthwhile to get into something like weightlifting, but for me, my priority's always been just like aerobic cut stuff, just to burn fat as opposed to gaining muscle, I guess. Yeah.
The thing about that, this will be like my last like mini section on this. The thing about that is that losing fat, you can keep losing fat, but then you're gonna end up in something called skinny fat, where so if you put on a t-shirt, you look skinny, but you still have kind of like not like a
you don't have the right amount of muscle to fat ratio or whatever.
Yeah, it looks weird, you know.
Yeah.
So that's when you start weightlifting. I'd say like from the last time I saw you, you're probably at the point where you could start weightlifting,
Right.
and like actually make considerable progress at it. So when the gyms all open up, I can help you with that.
I think that'd be cool.
All right,
I mean-
Will, you better get on it right now.
Jade,
Yeah,
are you
right now.
gonna start weightlifting?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually can already lift 5.
I feel like I should probably start doing that too. Not gonna
Jade
lie.
can lift like a building, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, actually.
Imagine what
she
she could do. I'm not gonna make that joke.
All right.
I like how everyone.
We all know.
lied.
There's no questions. So Trevor, the other thing that's probably impacted for you. So you work at Pokey, right? Pokey House.
I do. Yes.
So how is that impacted by all this?
The exact opposite of how everyone thinks it is. I've actually been getting more
You've been
because
getting what?
more hours
Huh.
because
What happened to Paul?
no one wants to work.
Oh,
So what
wait.
that means,
Oh.
I get called in a lot more
And
That's not
because
the
you're
same as
willing to
Paul,
work,
it's
you end
very
up getting more
different.
hours.
because I'm willing to work. Like I'm pretty safe in like how I make sure I don't have the virus. Like I bring a change of clothes to work and I change in my car when I'm done.
And is it all
And then I
takeout?
wash. It's all takeout and DoorDash, yeah.
Okay.
So we're definitely
That's
seeing a
cool.
lot less of customers, but the customers that do come in, they're ordering like 4 bowls because they're coming for their
Oh my
family.
god. Yeah.
Ooh.
And let me tell you, it is super annoying. But
So
they have
it's
their phone out.
interesting to see the difference between like what Pokey did versus what TJ Maxx did with Paul, where like Paul's just
Yeah.
basically out of work but still getting paid.
Yeah, so Trevor, do you ever like go to work and are you worried about getting it at all, or are you just fine?
So since we
Boy,
serve
immune system.
food, we have to take like a ton of precautions. So we actually, my manager, he's pretty loaded. So not my manager, the owner. So we actually have a medical grade air purifier in the restaurant,
Oh my
Mhm.
god.
Oh my god.
and he somehow
Dang.
also landed medical grade masks
Nice.
from
Wow.
somewhere. I don't know how, but he got them. So we have masks and we have an air purifier, and we're all washing our hands like crazy. So I'm actually, I would say that Pokey is probably one of the safer places to eat at.
Yeah,
Okay.
that makes me
I
want
mean,
to
that's
eat
definitely
Pokey
good to
now.
know.
Yeah, because I noticed for me, like back when it first started and TJ Maxx was still open, like I would be working the register, and people would come up to me and be like, "Oh, here's my like shirt or whatever," and they'd be like, "I'm like, dude, what the? Get the fuck away from me, dude! I'm not about to touch the shirt that you just touched, and you're coughing all over me." And I was so worried, but then luckily TJ Maxx closed down.
Yeah, my mom's been going to the store. She went to the store today and like a few days ago because we're kind of like because at the beginning of this whole 3-week. Okay, so sorry, let me start over. Fun fact: my mom kind of got hints about like potential like shutdown quarantine stuff like a day or two before it actually like became public.
Right.
So she went to the store before everyone like bum
Panicked.
rushed to the store.
Dang.
Yeah, and she bought like $300 worth of groceries, and that lasted us all of like 3 weeks. So she went to the grocery store like a few days ago or whatever, and like today, and she's gonna go to Costco tomorrow, I think, to stock up
Yeah.
again.
Nice.
And the thing is that like a lot of people aren't taking like precautions with like grocery store employees need to be taking more precautions with
Yeah.
what they're doing.
Actually, I haven't.
Because she told me she went to Trader Joe's. She told me she went to a Trader Joe's and like a lot of the employees that were like stocking weren't like doing like number one weren't doing the social distancing thing. They were all really close to each other, and none of them were wearing masks. So it was like it was very risky for her to go in there, but like she still did anyway because
Yeah,
I mean
that's
like
true.
we need food.
But
Yeah.
Nah.
I've actually seen that Trader
Nah.
Joe's is one of the better places to shop at right now because they're not doing that because number one, Trader Joe's is a really small store.
Oh, what store is it?
Very, very. Trader Joe's.
Oh, Trader
It's a Trader
Joe's,
Joe's
right.
by closer to us than you
Okay.
will.
Yeah.
But and my mom when she went there, she said there was like they were like disinfecting all the like carts and all that stuff and whatever, and they had like the plastic guards and
A
whatever.
lot of places aren't even letting like a certain amount of people inside the store, like only a certain amount of
Yeah.
people at a
Yeah.
time.
Pokey
I
House
was-
can have 6 people in it at a time.
So you guys, so I know
That's
some food
crazy.
places are purely keeping people outside and bringing their food outside. So you guys are letting people in.
Mm-hmm. Because
Mm-hmm.
uh-huh.
Is that just because of how personalized kind of the ordering system is, I guess?
Not that, because you can definitely DoorDash it, but people like to come in. It's a lot cheaper if you come in and get it yourself.
Right.
And
Oh.
people like to, because when you're tipping in DoorDash, you're not tipping the employees, you're tipping the DoorDash driver, right?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
If you go in, you can tip the employees directly, and like people like my mom, like they'll go into stores and tip like $20 to employees because they're working right now.
Wow.
Oh, that's a fact. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually really cool.
Yeah, I think that's something that's interesting is everyone's kind of pushing to support local businesses.
Yeah.
Which, I mean,
Yeah.
technically that should be happening all the time, but,
Yeah.
you know.
But when they're all about to close down,
Right, that's when it's
yeah.
especially
Then you
important.
especially gotta.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of the weird thing about the quarantine. It's just there's so much stuff I never thought would happen going on right now, you know?
Yeah.
Right. So
That's
Trevor. So
Mhm.
obviously you're not going to work at Pokey for the rest of your life, right? So what
I
are
don't
your
know.
plans like for college?
He's like,
Let
well,
me segue. Let me segue. So what's your plan for like college and career in the future and stuff?
oh boy.
I've been thinking that I know for a fact I want to go into music
Right.
for my life.
So just to explain real quickly, what instrument do you play? What ensembles are you in? We're all kind of
Okay,
music
so-
people here, but what do you do?
I play 2 instruments proficiently. I play tenor saxophone and bass guitar. And I'm first chair in both top ensembles at Branham for tenor saxophone. We can ignore the fact that I'm the only tenor saxophone in one of those top.
Yeah, that,
But,
That's pretty funny.
but my plan is to go to junior college first to capitalize on the fact that I don't want to spend money.
Right.
Oh,
That's
yeah, I feel
literally
that.
what I'm
That's
doing.
literally like exactly what I
that's
want to do.
literally what I'm
Yeah.
doing.
It's just, why wouldn't you? You know, it's so cheap.
My family's not the richest of families. Like we have like money, we could sustain ourselves, but I don't think my parents have money to send me to a 4-year college.
My
Especially
parents
immediately.
told me
The
they
fact
don't
that
have
it's
money.
the fact that it's a good way to delay paying all that money, and it's still and now it's such a viable option. There's no reason not to do it if you.
Dude,
if you can.
Deanza, they're covering your first 2 years. Like, that's
Right.
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, same at Valley.
Yeah, West Valley? Dude, that's insane. Who wouldn't cap?
I know.
Yeah. So Trevor, what would you major in, Trevor?
Right now, I have 2 ideas. I'm planning on majoring in either composition or music theory.
You wouldn't do jazz
Cool.
studies?
I'd hope to minor in it,
Okay.
but the thing about it is I don't think UT Austin has a jazz studies program.
Okay.
But
So is that
when
your
UT
goal to
Austin-
transfer to is University of Texas
So-
Austin or whatever?
So here's the cool thing. So when I'm moving to Texas in about, so when I move to Texas, the junior college I'm going to there, the music program at that college has a direct transfer with 100% transfer rate to UT Austin's music program.
Oh wow.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I can do that, and then to directly transfer it into a college's music program where that college has top 10 programs for every program.
Right. Oh, that's pretty
Like-
sweet.
Yeah, UT Austin is not a school to be messed with. They're very, very well funded.
Yeah, that makes
Good.
sense. So then, as a
Yeah.
career, then what would you do? Like, what are your ideas? Like, what's the dream? What's the dream?
The dream, I would hope to write music as my main income, and then this is just a long shot like side gig. I would open up a restaurant. I think that would be really cool.
Oh, that'd be
But-
awesome.
I
Yeah,
would,
that'd
I,
be
would,
sweet.
I would love to open up a restaurant, dude. I feel.
Dude, Trevor and
Like
Sam
I would
working
open up the
together.
restaurant after.
Trevor, do you want to open up a restaurant?
I'd love that, but only hot dogs. That's it. That's
What would
always
you call the
just hot
place?
dogs?
Hot dog.
Yep. Yeah, just hot dogs.
No, I want
What's
to
on
open a
the
place
menu?
called Sticks on a hot dog instead of hot dog on a stick, and it's just like an uncooked
Dude, I
hot
feel
dog,
bad.
like with sticks
No.
glued
All
to
that
it.
would be All that would just be you handing the guy a corn dog like upside down, like you just
No,
holding
no,
the
no,
meat.
no, no. You have to have a hot dog with a whole bunch of sticks taped to it. Sticks on a hot dog.
Dude, I would hate to work there, dude. Those poor employees.
The hot
have to-
glue, the hot gluing the sticks on the hot dog.
On the raw hot
The,
dog.
the raw flimsy hot dog.
Like,
Oh,
Can we at least get gloves?
no. no.
No, no.
Oh, and naturally the hot
part of the
dog. The hot
experience.
dog's not cooked, but it's very warm.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And very slippery too.
The whole building has to be like warm
Stop.
and humid.
It has to be balmy.
Yeah, this is Steve, our head chef. He's like obese, like 500 pounds.
He
He's just
doesn't
got
even
like.
cook anything. He just
No, no, no.
he
He's just holding. He's just holding the raw hot dogs in like his like boob fat. They're just holding it up.
Oh,
No, he's in the back with a thing of wood cutting all the sticks.
Dude, that's what the mall Santas do when they're freaking. It's not December. They're just working at stick on a hot dog.
The new hit
They're not even
restaurant.
actual hot dogs. Cuts a part of his belly fat off.
Oh no! He's on a surgical table the whole time. Oh no! All right, so back to Trevor. So I think like who would you say? This is just a random question. So like, if you look at yourself as a person, who would you say are your biggest influences?
I'll go the bongo.
Gone with the bongo.
That's tough. That's tough, actually.
I mean, probably are your parents an influence on you? Like any relatives, and then other people.
Mr. Knowles.
That's a tough question. I would say one of my very first influences was probably my mom,
Right.
because she was a single mom for like a couple years before she met my current dad, and she just put so much hard work into making sure that I didn't even notice that like I had a single mom, or like like that I didn't have stuff that other kids didn't have. Like I didn't even care.
Right.
And she worked her butt off to make it like that.
Yeah,
And
that's impressive.
and that's why I try to be a really good kid, or like a really good son, because they gave me a lot of these opportunities that a lot of people just never had, or I've never had the chance. Like the amount of like I don't want to say luck, but the amount of like
Fortune.
good fortune that I've had in my life.
Fortune 3 pickaxe.
It's Fortune 3 Trevor.
Fortune 3 t-shirt. It's just like this shirt I have in like my
You
my
like
car
punch
for
some
just
dirt
like-
and then suddenly it just multiplies. Anyway, back to you, Trevor.
But anyway, like she just and then my dad also works like his absolute
And this
ass
is your
off.
current
Like,
dad?
yeah, my current dad.
There.
When he adopted me, he was a police officer, and like he accepted me. Like it just like it wasn't even like that. I didn't even notice that like he wasn't
Right.
like it was.
It wasn't like an awkward thing between you guys. It was just like
No,
oh,
he just.
How old were
accepted
you
me.
when your dad came around?
I think they got married when I was 3.
Okay, so it was
That's
pretty
when-
early
that's
in your
when-
life,
that's
so
when,
I mean that makes it also a little bit easier to.
Yeah, it was early, so like I could be integrated pretty well.
Right.
But like he never like ignored me or only took my 2 stepbrothers out to lunch, or
Right.
like he did it with everyone. And that was really nice.
I mean
And,
that just shows pure kindness and stuff. I mean that shows
just-
a good person.
he's a really good guy, and I'm really happy I landed him as my dad and not
Right.
someone else.
You can
know?
get a lot of you
Yeah.
can get very unlucky, but I think
Yeah,
that's maybe
yeah.
got lucky.
You can get so unlucky with who your parents are, and that can be like the decision in like not how your life goes, but how your perspective on life chooses to play out.
Right.
Yeah.
And I can name a few people where their parents have not been like the best to them, and they've just let it kind of engulf them, and like
Right.
it's just for me to look at that. That just makes me sad, because like if they had played their cards right, they would be in a much different and much better place right now.
Or if they just
But,
managed to get the luck that like one of us got or something, they'd
Yeah.
be
yeah,
they could have a
because-
shot at something more.
exactly. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but even then, a lot of like I have an uncle. He's another guy I love. When he was a kid, like he had to take the bus to Little League, and like, I'm pretty sure his dad was in jail. There was a lot of bad stuff going around in high school, and then now he owns a like $2.5 million house
Oh.
in a very, I'm not going to say where because I don't actually like expose my-
Docs.
Dino.
at 9'5".
And unrelated,
Zip
his
code.
social security number is.
Yeah, but he's just a really, really good guy, and like he came from these circumstances where a lot of people would have just collapsed and given up and stayed in the system or like the hood or like the ghetto, but he got out of it, and like it paid off dearly. It paid off so well, and I kind of look up to him a lot. There's a lot of people in my family that I could look.
Right. What about like outside your family?
cool.
Anyone like? Would you ever look up to any celebrities or any other people?
So when I was in middle school, I listened to a lot of heavy. That was kind of like my my dwelling grounds. Is
Right.
that was the music in middle school that I could kind of escape to. And one of my idols was this guy named I think it was bless
One
you.
of your biggest idols.
Bless you.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Dude, no, it's funny because I can. Oh, I got it. His name was Lemmy Kilmes. He's from
Isn't that a Koopaling from Super Mario Brothers?
No,
Lemmy.
but, he's from a band called Motorhead. This is British like speed metal band, and they're this guy was super. He really lived life in like a sense that it's really hard to be taken. Like I could tell you all the bad things he did or all the things he did that would definitely like end up killing him. Like he drank a bottle of Jack Daniels every day,
Jesus.
and he did a lot of drugs. But the thing is, like, he never let anyone tell him how to live his life, or never really like slowed down. You know, he never really just kind of he was always just kind of like very strong in who he was, and I kind of look
He had
up
a
to that
sense of
in
self and individualism and all that.
He had a sense of self and individualism, and he knew what he. I think that's what I look up to him for, is that he always not knew what to do, but he always kind of like had this energy about him where it's like you can't really stop it. Like that's like if he decides something, that's what he's going to do, and I like that.
Right.
And I try and not act like him, but like take some of my
Like
personality
you
too.
really have your own strong sense of individualism, I think, and you really have
Yeah.
your own sense of self.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, on that
Uh,
topic, it's like you said you listened to that music like in middle school, right?
I still listen to it, but like
Yeah,
not
yeah,
as
but,
much as
like-
I did. Yeah, not as much as I did in middle school.
Like I
yeah.
feel like those are such formative years where it's like music plays a really big part in our lives, and like I know it's cringy and it's like you know like emo music, like conventional
Yeah.
emo music.
No,
like Talking
I used to
Drums.
listen to that.
Yeah, of course, like we all did, right? But it's like I feel like when we're in those formative years, like it's really necessary to like learn about our emotions through songs like that. And I know it sounds
Exactly.
like dumb, but it's like I don't know what like hate is, or I don't know what love is, and like any of that at
I
that
don't know
age.
what
But it's like
sex is.
listening to songs that like have those themes, like no matter how cringy it is, it's like it teaches you things.
Thank you
Exactly,
for
yeah.
justifying.
You know what's funny?
listening to
You know what's
emo music
funny?
when I was
Growing up and even still today, I never like listen to music like regularly, or like on like Spotify or like Apple Music. I never had songs on my phone was like listening to music. I never like had any specific bands or anything that I like enjoyed or listened to, like many other people. Because every time I'm out with my friends or like we're like listening to music or something, everyone will be sitting around me singing lyrics, and I'll be just like, I just don't know this song. I just don't.
And that's why everyone hates you.
Obviously,
That's why we don't like you, Sam.
All right, well, maybe I won't come back for next week's podcast. But anyway,
Oh, no.
Trevor is the new Sam on next. week's
obviously, there's a bunch of songs I know and I sing. Obviously, there's a bunch of songs I know and I sing too, and I know the lyrics. But like, there's just a lot of stuff that I just don't know because I just don't listen to music like ever.
Yeah,
It's
no,
not something I
you
do
notice
to
a difference
occupy
between
myself.
families with that kind of thing, where like it's like I was listening to music my entire childhood. Like parents.
My
parents would
dad,
play music all
also
the time.
listened to music his entire childhood. My dad is a progressive rock aficionado. He
Oh,
knows
that's
how to
my
play the
prog
drums.
man.
Prog
Yeah,
man. Oh
exactly.
wait, what is that? What it's for?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god,
yeah.
that's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I
I
think the
saw
way
him
you're
and-
brought
yeah,
up
so he-
influences how much music you listen to.
My dad is a professional drummer.
Yeah.
Okay, Jade.
Wow,
My dad has a
Okay,
platinum
okay.
record.
Funny story. So when I was little, I didn't have a lot of money to like buy.
That's so funny.
What?
It's a funny story. It's a funny
What?
story.
Oh no, it's because it's a funny story at the beginning.
What?
Wait, we didn't have a lot of money to like, buy
Funny story.
new
So when I was
new
growing
new
up, I
albums
didn't
and
have
stuff
a
like
lot
that
of
on
money.
iTunes.
God, it's so funny.
On iTunes, we didn't have a lot of money to buy stuff. So I had I had
Sorry, I'll stop.
I had one Nickelback album that
Nickelback.
I can still recite every lyric of every song on that album to the line.
Look
Wow.
at this graph.
That was the album. It was that album.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
It's called,
Who
it's
Who
called
knew
For All
Nickelback
the-
had such an influence on Trevor? I never would have known that.
Yeah.
It's called For All the. I think it's called For All the Right Reasons or All the Wrong. It's one of the two.
It's either right. I'm not sure which one it is. Again, favorite album of all time.
Literally
Don't remember
the
what it's
only
called.
album
Not my
I
favorite. No, I
listen
do.
to.
I do not like that album. It's just what I listen to.
Yeah, that makes sense. And is that the funny story, or
No, yeah, no, it's just that I know the
Sam,
lyrics to
you,
an
you
entire
overhyped
Nickelback
that
album.
way too much.
yeah? Sam really overhyped that funny
What did
story.
What did I
It
do?
was kind of funny.
It was for like the chuckle, you know.
It was,
No,
it
no,
was
I
for the
just
good
did that
chuckle
just-
that Sam listened to, or that Trevor listened to Nickelback.
I think Sam laughing at the fact that I was poor when I was younger was funnier.
Yeah.
I was okay. You know when so as soon as you said fun, this is a funny story, right? I was like in my head immediately. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna laugh at the first thing he says and be like, oh, it's a funny story. And it did not click with me that you said I didn't have money growing up. So then dumbass me just starts laughing like an idiot, like, oh, funny story.
Yeah, that's a good
My
one.
God.
Oh
I
my
didn't
God.
do
Alright.
it. It wasn't.
Trevor, do you have anything else you want to say, like about you specifically?
Let me chew this really quick.
Trevor's a gamer.
Oh my God, I'm not gonna say that on podcast, but like it's that's bad.
Tell us later.
No, it's that bad. I
It's
just
that bad.
it's not like a crime. It's just like
Whoa, whoa.
it's just a
Whoa.
I'm trying to think it's a
Like how
crime.
Paul stole his laptop. We're pretty sure.
What's up?
Actually,
You
no,
said that
you-
so like.
Nah, you know what? It'll be juicy. So, in elementary school, around like 5th grade maybe. Nah, I think it's kind of started. Nah, fifth grade. I was a huge brony. Dude, no, like I was a massive brony. Like, dude, I wanted to go to BronyCon, and I have a sticker on my dresser of Pinkie Pie, and I don't know how to take it off.
I don't know.
This
how
is
to
the
say
best.
that.
I think I
Okay.
heard this
Yeah.
before, but this is the
You've
best
seen
information
All
I've
the
ever heard.
people that I know.
And it's just honestly, it's a part of it's a time in my life where I was like,
That you're damn proud of.
no, it was that kind of ironically signaled like the part of my life where I started discovering who I wanted to be.
Yeah, it like
Because-
shapes who you are regardless.
Bronies really
Like-
do guide you in a direction.
So the thing that made me stop watching is like I think I still, if I watched the show today, I think I'd still like it. But it's just the other people who like it that make me
Right.
not want to watch it.
That's
Like
fair.
it's the connotation with like society and all that stuff. And I'm not saying that Trevor Gonzalez would watch My Little Pony but hates how common bronies are. And stuff like that. Like
He's not you hate the normies.
fuck normies. But like it gave me it did help me with something really big, and it showed me how to like something, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
like how to
Yeah. Oh.
be a fan of something, and how to like show interest in something. And
Dude, that goes right back to the emo music.
it does.
That's
It
true,
goes
that's
back to
true.
emo music. I
That's
stopped
very true.
watching in around like 7th grade, I think.
Yeah, I stopped watching like
That's
last month.
pretty. Yeah, that's pretty fair actually.
And so I watched it through a lot of 6th grade. Like I
Right.
watched up to season 4 and most of the movies.
Huh.
And I'm not even lying; those are damn good seasons, dude. That was a fucking good show.
Dude, that's how I
Trevor
feel
still
about
rewatches.
Steven Universe too.
Like
Dude,
that's why I can't diss people who like all those kids shows and stuff, dude, because some of them are good. Like-
Yeah, that's true. There are a lot of
Yeah.
kids shows that are just high quality, and that's, I mean, there's no arguing about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Fucking Doc McStuffins, I swear.
I called her
Fair.
Doc McMuffin.
No.
Doc McMuffin.
Dude,
Oh,
Doc
I love your role in McDonald's.
I love the part where you give him the cheese.
All right. So to finish off, just because we haven't really explained it, does anyone want to kind of just go through like what is our friend group? I guess this winter progression friend group, like what it is and how it started. I guess.
Winter perk.
Yeah. So basically, we're all in this thing called winter percussion. It's a thing where we play music together. We play drums. We play mallets, and we're just together and we
cymbals, too,
compete
but
every
that's
single
okay.
weekend.
I
were
think
supposed
none
to
of us
compete.
play mallets.
Okay. Well, I play mallets, not
in winter
here.
percussion.
I also play cymbals, Paul. Thank
Oh,
you for mentioning
good.
that. Yeah.
Anyway, continue, please, Paul. What happened?
Oh yeah, I unplugged my mic. All right. So, yeah, we all have been close, I feel like, but I think winter percussion brought us like even like exponentially closer. Like I know with you, Will, like I don't think it was winter percussion, but before this year, like we weren't that close. But this year, we definitely got way closer.
I think,
And
I
same
mean, with Paul and I've known him since second or I think probably third grade,
yeah,
and he's been someone I know. I mean, I know who he is. I talk to him every once in a while. He was good friends with my other friend, Spencer.
Oh, fun fact about our audience members and people in this group that may or may not know. In middle school, I was in men's ensemble and I knew Will and Paul and everyone, and I straight up did not associate with them at all. And
I know.
We did not like him. Or,
We're like,
okay,
who the fuck
I
is
wouldn't
this
say, guys,
man?
I wouldn't say we didn't like him. It was more just we didn't actively go out of our way to like him. Right.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Will.
it takes a
Like
lot
you
of
never
effort.
got to know
wait.
him.
One of my best friends in middle school on orientation, they pointed at me and said that I was going to be the weird kid, and then they ended up becoming
They
best
became
friends
the
with
weird
me.
kid.
Oh
They ended up
my
becoming
God.
best friends with me like a week later,
Wow.
and he was my best
But that-
friend until like 8th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's
back
crazy.
to Paul and I. Well, basically, like, Paul and I
Yeah.
this year we are both in jazz this year for the first time, and I
Yeah.
guess I think because
I don't
every
need
Tuesday
anything.
and Thursday we just go get food and wait around for marching band or for winter progression. So I think that kind of time that helped with me and Tyga too, where like I wouldn't say we ever weren't friends, but to where now we're just really good friends.
Now,
Oh,
for
yeah,
me-
Will, also, you just, like, before this whole quarantine happened, you were at my house, like, once a week, at least.
Well, once I started dating
Like, you
Allison,
were-
it was a little less, but like right before I dated Allison, right
Oh,
that was
we
my
noticed.
peak.
girls, ew.
Only podcast!
Only podcast, guys.
So
This is
loud.
a boys only podcast.
Hey, whoa! We're gonna need a vote kick on Jade.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Vote kick on Jade.
Jade's results are in. Turns out she's a girl. What the fuck?
My cover's been blown.
Anyway, Paul, you want to finish describing our friend group, please?
Did Jade just leave?
Jade left.
I heard it.
Wait, Jade's gone.
Okay, our friend group though.
Yeah, she's
we
back.
play lots. I don't know. We just like I know Will and I we drum together all the time. I feel like that's really what gets us vibing together. Like
Yeah.
us just like splitting and drumming. Like that's just where it's at. And we play video games all the time. All of us. I think
Yeah.
it's everything's pretty good.
And I feel like
And I'm
everyone in Winter
sure-
Progression has gotten closer through this quarantine, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually
I would
there's at least one.
I would never hold a one-on-one conversation while playing games with Aryan or something. That's not something that I would usually do.
I have never talked to Aryan more in my entire life.
Yeah.
I fucking
Same.
love Aryan.
Dude, yeah, Aryan's
Aryan's
great. And I, mean,
Aryan's-
I'm really-
I never got
Aryan's
to talk to
great.
him before this.
I've been.
Like, no, I
hung
talked
out
to
with
him
him
a bit.
before a little bit. Yeah.
I talked to him a bit, like here and there. He was always cool, but I've never like played games with him.
Right. He's
Yeah.
so
He's cool.
funny to play games
Aryan
with.
is
Oh my
so
god.
diff-
different
So funny.
in gamer world than in real life, bro.
He's
Holy
really good at Minecraft mini games.
Yeah,
It's funny because he's not that good at CS:GO.
Did Ari?
Don't let Ari listen to the podcast.
Dude, but I don't even care, dude. I just love playing with him. He's so funny.
No, he
so
taught me how to
funny.
play poker. We were playing poker until like 5 a.m. at one sleepover, and like he's just so crazy when he's tired. Like he just does the randomest stuff. Like he'll get a bunch of red chips. He'll be like, haha, Red Dead Redemption. I'm like, what the fuck? What does that mean?
Dude, the Aryan, I call those Aryan quips, and they're like the funniest thing ever. Like, we were playing a comp match at 1 a.m. He just goes pee buys in the baby and rushes like. Which so for anyone who plays CS:GO,
It's not a good strat. It's not a good strat.
no, it was on Dust too, and he gets opt like as he jumps down. And then I was like, Aryan, what the fuck? He was like. Buys in the baby. Or no, he'll be like, they call me unreliable. And he'll get like one tapped.
Okay, I know everyone that's gonna be listening to the podcast probably knows Aryan, but it's like every time I try to explain Aryan to somebody that doesn't know him, it's so hard because like I say all these quotes and they're hilarious to us because we know who he is.
But
like,
they have no idea what that
funny at
is.
all.
Not to spoil it, but next
Yeah.
week
It's
Arian's
just
gonna be on the
Arian's
podcast.
delivery.
Just saying, next week it's gonna be Arian's the
Oh,
guest.
next week Aryan's the guest.
Arian's the
baby?
guest next
Oh.
week.
We have to do it at like 3 a.m. though.
Yeah, we gotta do it late at night.
Yes.
It's the only
No,
one.
I'm so down.
He's like,
So
they call me the boys only podcast.
Yeah, that'd be good. All right, anything else, Paul, you want to add about our friend group? I mean, really, we're just a gang of friends who just hang out from winter progression and stuff.
Freshman year, I
Yeah.
didn't know any of you.
That's fine.
Oh yeah, I remember
That's- yeah.
Trevor. You said like you thought I was weird like before, right?
No. So I didn't think anyone was weird or anything like that. It's just when high school, like when we were all freshmen, I had a very hard time connecting with other, with other groups because I was just very nervous. I didn't really know how to act because so before that,
Oh, I feel
like
that.
I'm not gonna go into
That's
this story,
the
but like I always really only had like one or two really good friends. I never really participated in anything like that. But freshman year, when I didn't really hang out with those friends that much, and band was a lot closer than it was in middle school, I didn't really know how to like insert myself in that demographic. You know,
Right.
like that was really
Yeah.
weird for me. And then sophomore year, I started getting a lot more acquainted.
I'd say I
Bro,
probably got close with you sophomore year. I think we all kind of became friends with you sophomore year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna ask. I was like, I don't remember when I became friends with you.
I think
like,
late sophomore year we became really good friends with Trevor, and then beginning this year we're just not all good chums.
Yeah.
yeah.
I,
I
well,
think
I became friends with you like freshman year marching band, like late freshman
Yeah.
year or something. I don't remember exactly.
For
Oh,
reference,
yeah, I don't know when
for reference, we're all juniors except for Jade. Jade's a senior.
I'm a senior.
get him.
Yeah.
Get her out of
I
here.
know-
Vote kick for Jade, not a junior.
I would
I know
leave
that's
this
what-
already
And
done
girl,
that.
oh my god.
Wait,
That's
what?
my bad. I'll fix that next podcast.
Nice.
So yeah, freshman year, I definitely thought Aiden was weird, and then like I met
Which
him
is funny
sophomore year,
because
I'm like,
Aiden was the one who taught. Like,
wait, what?
What? Say that again. You cut out.
You cut out.
oh, it's just funny because Aiden's the one who like would talk to everyone, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I just like it's funny because he'd always be like, "Oh, dude, you should always talk. You should come talk to like the Price kids with me." I'm just like, no.
Oh yeah, that's fact.
Nope, I'm
Aiden's
good.
good at making friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause, like,
like
there's
I,
this
I,
one
didn't,
time-
I wasn't friends with Aiden either, but I found out that Aiden and I had a very similar sense of humor. We always make each other laugh when we're like hanging out or like playing Smash or whatever.
Honestly, I think that's the best part about like our group of friends is that we all have this absolutely just dumb
same.
sense of humor.
And we all know the inside jokes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, thanks to
Unless
Donkey,
you're
man.
not part of
Donkey
our
really
friend group.
influences us.
Fuck you.
Yeah. All right.
Dude,
so-
like, there was this
oh.
one time. All right, sorry. There's this one time in chemistry, right? I had chemistry
Oh,
with
no.
Aiden. He sat
Oh,
right
no.
in front of me.
No.
I look in front of I just see him scratch his head. He pulls his hand away from his head, and there's just a cockroach in his hand. So for the rest of the year, we called him Roach. It's so funny. Anytime I bring up that story, he gets so mad.
Yeah, we gotta have Aiden on the podcast, man. All right.
Like, how does that happen?
Trevor, anything else
Random
you wanna
high
add
school.
as we finish up?
I don't really have anything else. No, I think I'm good.
Cool.
I think I'm
Thanks for coming. Thanks for chatting with us.
That was very
I have
cool.
nothing better to do.
That's a fact.
Fair.
Yeah. So everyone,
This
say,
is really
everyone say
fun.
goodbye.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Trevor.
Good cast.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.